I'm Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and today I'm talking to Mike Wallace. Mike, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your experience bowling?
Well, I'm years old, and I turned 24 in August, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I've been bowling more professionally for about 6 years. So since COVID hit, when I started bowling more professionally, just after I graduated high school, that's when I started bowling more professionally. And of course, it's in, so I can't complain. Plus, bowling alleys always have the greatest food.
They do. You mentioned, I think, in one of the articles that I read, that you kind of really like the aesthetic of the bowling, like the lights, the lanes, and just like the music and the feel. Can you
Absolutely.
describe that more? Just like the atmosphere of a bowling alley?
I like anything atmosphere that reminds me of the era that I was never, born in, but my family was, which was the 80s. So roller skating, for example, it's another hobby that I do as well. But bowling, arcades, roller skating, all that stuff, it just gives 80s vibes, and I just love it. Even though I never, but it makes me feel like I'm able to live that era in this time and enjoy it. So I feel like I'm not missing out, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. It kind of has a history, a feel towards it that is kind of different, I would say, from different sports or activities.
Yeah, I like the neon lights and the arcade sounds and the sound of the pins getting hit and everyone is having a good time, and that's just what I love about it.
Yeah. What drove you to take it, I guess, more seriously and try to become better at it?
So at the time I was working fast food, and I was making some money, obviously. So at the time I was making money from working fast food, and I decided, no, let's just buy myself a nice bowling ball and shoes and a bag and all that, because you can't really progress using the stuff that the bowling alley provides for you, and you can't progress proficiently. So I bought myself a ball and a bag and shoes, and watched more videos, and it's just more, even though in one of the interviews I did say when I was a kid I wanted to get good at it, and I did try. Like when I was younger, when I would go with my brothers, I was more competitive, and I'd try to spin the ball like the professionals and all that. But I was using the stock stuff that the bowling alley had, so it was working, but not really. But because I had that extra money in 2020, and I'm like, let's just let's go on out, let's spend some money, and maybe I might like it, maybe I might not like it. And then I just got hooked on it from there, and I'm like, well, buying that ball was one of the best things I've ever did.
Do you still have that same ball?
Yep, I still have that same bowling ball, and I still use it.
That's awesome.
I have a lot more balls now, but
but it's like the first one that you got to start working on it and being, I guess, more professional at the sport. So that's definitely probably a special memento.
And the thing is too, is it's one of those bowling balls that you kind of buy because it looks cooler, but I didn't really know how that ball performs, because every bowling ball performs differently. At some point I learned that I need to upgrade my bowling ball, because that was a cheaper bowling ball too. And the more expensive bowling balls have different performances, and they perform usually better, obviously. So make more money and I buy some more bowling balls.
Yeah, that makes sense. And did you have any friends who did it, or kind of like you said, you kind of looked towards more like professional bowlers and kind of looked towards them for like what materials and what things to really get?
So I didn't really I didn't have any friends that actually bowled with me. So it's just kind of an on my own thing, and my mom would drop me off at the bowling alley. And I did make bowling friends at the bowling alley that helped me out too. But it was usually the people at the bowling alley that I was a regular at that point, and those guys were regulars too. So we all kind of knew each other, and we bowled next to each other and whatnot. But also, it was the professionals on TV that I would watch too.
Yeah. And so you've done it for about 6 years, and you came up here, right? And we have a bowling alley on campus. You spent a lot of time working on your craft there and also down in Idaho Falls, right?
Yes. A lot of my performance has gotten better from bowling at the school bowling alley.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a lot of it to Idaho Falls.
That's cool because it's I've been there before in the school one, and it feels small. Did it ever feel kind of small and a little different than the typical bowling alley to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, the first time I went to that bowling alley at the school, that was 2021. And yeah, I mean, that was the smallest bowling alley I've ever been inside. I mean, it's 6 lanes, but I can't complain though. It's a university that has a bowling alley. I'm gonna take what I got, and I'm gonna have some fun. And the fact that they oil their lanes too, once a week, even though that's not typical for most bowling alleys oil a couple times a day.
Mm-hmm.
The school being able to oil the lanes at least once a week was really nice, because I thought that, well, what if they don't oil the lanes at all?
Yeah. You started like a student bowling league right here when you were studying at BYU-Idaho, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, when I first came, I asked if they had any student bowling leagues, and at the time they didn't. They had a staff league though. So I joined the staff league for a little bit until I was able to get permission to make a sign-up sheet and see if I can get students to join, because we didn't really know how many students would come to school and would actually want to take bowling, I guess, more seriously, or just have fun in general to join a bowling league. So I made a sign-up sheet and posted it on the Rexburg Facebook page, and people signed up for it, and we hit it off, and we've been doing bowling leagues every semester ever since. So it was really awesome to be able to start that here at the school.
Yeah, that's super awesome. And even though you graduated recently in April, do you still continue
Yep.
with that league, or have you made, I guess, another group of, I guess, people who are interested in bowling regularly?
So I am actually still part of the bowling league that's going on this semester right now, because my wife is still attending, and she signed me up for it. And there's a lot of people that go to the school that bowl there, and I've passed it down to some people, and I've gotten a lot of people interested in trying it out, and they end up buying their own bowling ball and bag and all that. It's really nice to see, people actually, taking the next step and trying something new, even if they don't like it. It's kind of what I want for people, is to be able to, try something new in life, and if you don't like it, move on to something else. But at least you tried it.
Yeah, and you bowled your first perfect 300, right?
That was actually January of 2025. So that was a while
Okay,
ago.
so it was a while ago. Okay. I guess what has been your experience since, achieving that, and 300 the best you can do, or is there ways you can exceed more with bowling?
So believe it or not, a 300 is not the highest thing you can do. The absolute highest thing, as far as we know, is to achieve a 900 series that's sanctioned. And what that is in a league or tournament or something, but usually it's a league that's sanctioned by the USBC. A 900 series is is of 3 games usually. And bowling 300 3 times in a row, which would make 900. That'd be a 900 series. And I know as of right now, only 40 something people in the whole world have been able to do that. That would be the absolute highest thing you can possibly do. And my 300 was not even a sanctioned 300. So I like to get that out there so that people are like, oh, see, I don't know if that counts or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 300 to 300, but it's not a sanctioned 300, so I don't get a ring for that. Which, if you bowl a sanctioned 300 game in a league, usually you get a ring.
Mm-hmm.
That will say 300 on it, which is really cool. That's my next goal, is to get one of those. So that's the next up from a 300 from non-sanctioned.
Okay.
And but you asked after bowling a 300, how am I doing now, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I've noticed that once you bowl 300, you're not really scared anymore to get to the really high scores. And it's like, well, you've achieved this already. You've achieved something good already. So everything else after feels easier. Like, I remember when I first bowled my first ever 200 game, and I was so nervous just to do that. And after I did it once, 200s came naturally, and it was really weird. And it's like, okay, that's, I went past this mark, so now, and then every time I do it after, it's like, okay, well, it's not as special anymore. So breaking 200 is nothing to me anymore. But another 300, I'd be super happy for, but then I'd be like, well, I gotta do it in a league or something so I can get my ring. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so for a sanctioned, it has to be a part of like an official league game or just an official league?
An official league. So the United States Bowling Congress, which is a USBC, they have to sponsor. They have to like be part of the league. At an official bowling alley, they have to, like the lanes have to be certified and all this different stuff. And they have to have it's a professional league. So like, the school will have its student leagues. Those are not USBC sanctioned, but the one in Idaho Falls does. So I do a lot of tournaments out there that are USB certified, and it'd be nice to bowl 300 during a tournament, or at some point I'll be joining one of their leagues out there. But yeah, so once you do a 300 game in a league that's USBC sanctioned, it's an official recorded 300 game that's like on a record and all that. So, and then you get your own ring. So that would be a really awesome achievement. And then the next one after that is actually an 800 series, which is after 3 games you basically have 800 pin count or higher, and that's at an average of a 267 per game, which is a really high score, getting that about 3 times in a row.
Yeah, those sound super like great goals to work on, as you said.
Yeah, there's so much to do after a 300 game. It's kind of never ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds fun, and like you said, once you have like achieved one step in it, it makes it a lot easier to, I guess, not fear and keep growing in your skill. Like it becomes, I've done it before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
one of the things I wanted to do for the school, for BYU-I. I mean, that bowling alley, it's kind of popular, but not many people take it seriously there. And I obviously, there's no problem with that. Go bowling to have fun, and there's no wrong way to bowl, in my opinion. But I don't think it's as popular as it should be. I think the sport of bowling is declining, and a lot of people know that. So I think it's so cool that the school actually still has a bowling alley and hasn't replaced it with something else. So I kind of wanted to be that one person to hype it up, if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense.
I wanted to be a role model too, and kind of represent the school in a way. So that's also why I would go to Idaho Falls too. And people would ask me, "Yo, where do you bowl a lot?" And I say, go to the school.
No, it's really cool that, like you said, you are like, this is where you did a lot of your bowling practices and things. And I can see your passion for it, and that it's something that you want to grow rather than, I guess, to go out, because like you said, it's a very fun thing to do, and you've turned it into something that's become a real skill and something that you want to achieve more in. So that's an awesome thing that you've done with bowling.
Absolutely. And I know I only have BYU Idaho to thank for it, because I wouldn't have bowled that 300 game in Idaho Falls if it wasn't for all the practice that I had at the school. So that's like one thing I'm like really thankful for my time at the school, that they actually had a bowling alley, and it's of course very affordable and pretty decent quality lanes too, and really nice staff. So I mean, I spent a lot of time there, even just doing homework too. There's so many memories were made there for me, and I thank the school so much for that. Same thing with roller skating too. I mentioned that was another hobby that I like to do, and the school also has a really nice ballroom floor for roller skating, and I learned all the tricks and stuff that I can do now because of the school. So it's just one of those things I want to get out there. Is like, I want to express my gratitude towards BYU-Idaho for allowing me to do all that stuff, and it helps me for my future and where I'm going with bowling and roller skating and all the fun stuff that I like to do.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experience and your love of bowling. I'm Abrielle Millett for BYU Idaho, and today I've been talking with Mike Wallace about his experience bowling. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with me.